Yeah, so I just wanted to say hi to a few people. Let me know where you're from. I just thought it's interesting when we're all tuning in from all over the world. Let me just adjust this camera a little bit. Hey, I hope you're well. And yeah, let me know where you're from. Not if you're from Denmark, because there's a few Danes in here. God, that camera is just way off today. I saw South Africa. Had some Argentina as well. That'd be quite interesting. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to hear where you're from. Meanwhile, I will get busy. So let's do it. Seem to have lost all my charts. I'm just going to go over to another account, so while I get my charts up and running, you don't have to be disturbed by that. I think both the Nasdaq and the Dow looks weak. Take a look at how I'm gonna sell the Dow. So I've sold the Dow short here. And I'm primarily doing that because the European indices are spooked by something. What it is, I don't know. But they will often drag the US down with it. Probably want to sell Nasdaq short as well around here. I think I'm going to sell short the Nasdaq around 13,700. So what I was trying to do in the Nasdaq was to get an area I want. Well, you're not always in charge of when the phone rings, huh? Okay, so Dow's looking well. So is Nas. Go! Alright, so let's take some profit in the Nasdaq. Cool. So just a Dow trade now, so let's swap over to that. The Dow closed at 34,312. So if we're gonna go for a gap fill, it would be down here. Nope. There's gap fill. I think we can expect gap fill. All right, so let's get ready to add to the Dow. It's looking good. Here's the Dow. My entry is actually 59.7. Like to add to this position, but for me to add, I would have to see it come below this bar here, and then we're gonna bet on. We're gonna bet on gap fill. And here's Nasdaq. Nasdaq closed at 657, but I don't know if that's the comp or whatever, so I'm gonna go with... No, I don't have that data. I'm just gonna have to be mindful of that. This is looking good. Took a look at a 10-minute chart. Love to see a gap fill, come on. So just a quick status, here's the Dow. Short from 60, still got a little bit of Nasdaq. And getting close to that gap fill, getting really close to that gap fill. Boom. Gap fill. Haha. I just announced to close it here, but I'm gonna close just a little bit. Just thinking, actually. Now I've announced it in Telegram, but I think I'm just gonna run it a bit more. You know, it's that thing that you really want people to make money and you want them to do well, but at the same time, you also just want to be true to your instinct and go, let's run the fucker. Let's just run it because it might turn out into more. Look at that. Nasdaq is not actually doing much. It's just sort of hovering around 80. I got 12,000 in. I got about 60 points in profits. I think I want to get away from talking about money and I just want to talk about points because money gets so emotional, but with points it's just, hey, we're all happy to make some points. So here's the big picture and the Dow. This often happens. I'll announce an exit in Telegram just because I want people to make money. And then at times, the market will then carry on and I'm still in. And at other times it'll reverse and I really did get out of the low, but I'm still in myself. And I go, should have listened to myself. Anyway, we shouldn't complain. It was a good trade. It worked out well. I have a YouTube issue. I don't know what is going on here. I don't see anything. I don't know where people are from. I'm really curious. I don't know why you're asking about the DAX trade. It's a swing trade and it's still open. I still think, Benjamin, that the 28th is going to be an important date for us. Hello, Texas. Man, you're all the way from Texas, and I got someone from Stockholm. Hello, Morten from Stockholm. Hello, Brian from Texas. This is so cool for you to have. I got someone from Italy. Estonia? Oh my god. Yeah. International Space Station. Well, apparently we have someone from the International Space Station. We need you to prove that. Can you take a photo? Australia. Mexico and Sydney and Northamptonshire. I don't know. I think Mexico is a bit exotic. I think Sydney is a bit exotic. I'm not so sure that that Northamptonshire is. Sorry, Chris. Is that rude? Southampton as well and Northamptonshire. Anyway, wherever you're from, welcome. There are some real crackers around here. Sweden, Glasgow, Canada. That is so awesome. There you are. So let's take a look at the 5-minute chart in the Dow. Will this area now be resistance now that we are break even? I just want to see what CNBC says. Okay. So we got a double bottom in the Dow. Let's see what we got in the FTSE. Not quite. don't mind that blue line. That was an entry point earlier today. I bought the FTSE and I just marked the area with a blue line. I am, for my sins, still short the Dow. Haven't got an entry for the Telegram channel yet. I just decided that I thought it would be good for the group to get 50 points on board. But of course, you're free to do whatever you want. I personally like to have the line where the Dow closed the night before. You see, this is where it was at closing hours. And that sort of means that all of this here is what we call outside hours. Let's go on a slightly longer time frame and see where we are. On the way up, the market stopped at 235, 221, 240. So perhaps in this area here, there's going to be some buyers. Here's the big picture. Bigger picture. So here we are, just looking at the charts, patiently waiting for the next trade. We want to, shoot at things, but we got to be patient. I'm still short the Dow, a little bit short in the Nasdaq, but only a little. And now it's just a question of waiting. The European indices drove down the US indices. Now, I imagine that with 30 minutes of trading into the US trading session, that the US will create its own momentum. And right now, that momentum is to the downside. The Dow is down for the day, and Nasdaq from what I can see, Nasdaq is up. But the problem here is I think this is the Nasdaq composite. So I think I need to go to... There's the Nasdaq 100. So the Nasdaq closed at, well, maybe then what they are showing. I'm just never really sure that what they're showing here in the Nasdaq on the CNBC, whether that's Nasdaq composite or Nasdaq 100, but it would seem that it is the Nasdaq 100, because the Nasdaq 100 closed at 57 yesterday. There you go. It's good to know. So we're a little wiser now, and you don't know what I'm looking at. Sorry, because, you know, I was so bloody narcissistic that I was just looking at myself, and, well, you know, that's not true. But here's the Nasdaq 100 on CNBC. It said that it closed at 57 yesterday. But where I'm a little bit in doubt is that when you then go out to the tickets out here, it says it's up 27. Obviously, that's not updating so quickly. So what I do is I write this down on a piece of paper, just a little, you know, so I always know, well, what's the entry point? Because I think psychologically there's something to be said that when an art index has been up on the day and then it goes into break even and begins to slide into negative, or vice versa, let's say it's been down on the day and now it begins to make inroads into positive territory, that often brings about either feelings of, oh dear, we're going down, or oh dear, we're going up. So because I can't, it's not that I can't trust the broker charts, because I can, but it's just that the broker chart, they put in a lot of different data. No, that's not what I want to say. They put in data that doesn't make it so obvious to me, well, is the market up or down today? For example, TD365, they will use plus or minus on day, but that's set from midnight, not necessarily from when the market closed. And that at times can be confusing. Why they can't fix that, I don't know. And it's not just them. I see many brokers have that problem. They don't actually show where the market is as of the close from the night before, but from where it was at midnight. It's like the computer systems and reset. So the Nasdaq is actually creeping into negative territory for the day. Oh my God. It's Dow's birthday today. Apparently. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was created in 1896 by Charles Dow and consisted of 12 companies. American cotton oil, American sugar, American tobacco. There's a lot of commodity there. That's like commodity central, isn't it? American tobacco, Chicago gas, distilling and cattle feeding, General Electric. Oh, GE. Well, there you go. Introduced in the Wall Street Journal on the 26th of May. Happy birthday, Dow. So let's have a status. I'm still short Dow. Got a short position smaller in Nasdaq. And that's it. In Telegram, I'm long here. I'm long in the DAX, but that's on a swing trade. A quarter of a normal stake size. And that position was taken from the point of view that we felt this market here isn't a longer term uptrend, considering it's making all-time highs every other day at the moment. So it's like all-time high, actually a fair retracement. All-time high, and then a little less all-time high, and here we are 2 days in. And maybe it's going to be a 10-day retracement, maybe it's just going to be a 3-day retracement, but I think that we needed to be a buyer of the DAX. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dow. Ow, ow, ow. Happy birthday to you. When I started trading you, Dow, you were trading at 8,000. Look how big you've become now. Come on, FTSE. I want the FTSE to rally and I want the Dow to go down. And an 8-point spread. Yes, Steve B. Do you remember those days? Do you remember when we started trading the Dow? We probably didn't even know each other, you and I. And we had to pay an 8-point spread in the Dow. And you had to pay 8-point in the DAX too, 6-point in the FTSE. Yeah, ouch. You guys that have joined the trading arena later on in your life, you should count your blessings. I'm gonna sound like an old man now. I'm gonna sound like my dad, okay? So here goes. When I was young, I paid 8-point to trade the Dow. And if I had to do a quarter contract, I paid 16. Wait, I have to do it without teeth. Oh, when I traded the DAX, I traded... Remember days. That's me saying, those were days. I will stick to my day job. Alright, this is not looking too good for my short position. I moved the stop loss to entry in the Dow myself. I think I'm the only one who's actually running this position. So here, who's the joker here? And that's a good recovery of the FTSE. But it feels to me as if both the Dow and the Nasdaq are struggling a little bit today. Whilst the DAX and the FTSE are doing well. Someone just said, and I'm a little bit offended, that I don't sing very well. Well, Henrik, I think I sing quite well. I really don't mind seeing the DAX rallying, but my Dow profits are disappearing. You guys, count your blessings you got out. Thank you so much, Didrik. Hello, Wouter. Where are you from? Are you Verstraete? Are you Dutch? Wouter? Are you Dutch? Yeah. Where in Holland do you live? Anyway, it's none of my business. When is this yo-yo? That's a good question. My best guess would be the 28th of June. And then we'll make a high on the 28th of June. Yeah, I think yours truly actually should have been out of his... Damn. Can you explain why you shorted the Dow? K-World, yeah, I would love to explain why I shorted the Dow. Let me show you, because all my profits are disappearing very rapidly anyway, so I might as well just get something constructive out of it. Just gonna make sure that So this bar that you're seeing here, K-World, that's the bar just as the Dow Jones opens. And we touch 34,400. Nothing sinister there. But the way that it then reacts immediately afterwards made me think, right, this is not as strong. Now, you and I can both agree it could have shot up afterwards. But then what I was doing at the same time was I was tracking the FTSE. I always track the FTSE and the DAX. And take a look at this bar here. That's a very negative FTSE bar. And now look at the same time in the DAX. Dow open, very negative bar. And I felt that when all three indices are doing this at the same time, it felt to me that Europe was leading the way lower, and I couldn't quite figure out why the Dow index and the Nasdaq index would be able to rally if Europe was declining. It was almost as if Europe knew something. And when you think that it's institutions that we are sitting trading against, you think that it's an army of day traders, people like you and I. No, not really. It's big institutions that are trading with each other. And if the flow all of a sudden turns so heavily in one region, it's often because they know something. Anyway, that's what I'm telling myself. I'm telling myself that price is God. And, I want to be on the right side of the market as often as I can. That also means that at times I will balls it up like I've done now. I've been stopped out for nothing and you got 57 points out of it, or 47 points. So I got nothing and you got 50. But then there'll be times when I'll run this and I'll get another 100, but you only get 50. And I think that's just a question of temper, of patience. Man. Anyway, so I hope that I answered that question, K-World. I have studied the last 20 years of openings. And even though every single time that the open approaches, I go, oh dear, what's it going to be like this time? Mark Roberts, I hope that comment wasn't directed at me, because I most certainly guarantee you that I am not right all the time. Oh, okay. Yes, I have a lot of material on opening trades, but all in good time, my friend. All in good time. Mario, that was most certainly a reversal pattern that we saw there in the Dow. And don't you think it's very interesting, Mario, that I didn't take that signal here because I was short myself? I love that Lenny, he's the judicator. It's like, don't mess with Lenny. Love it. Thank you, Lenny. Right. So I made everyone in the Telegram group and in the YouTube channel money, but not myself. Not sure how I feel about that. No, I feel good about it. It's good. I think it's very important that you get a sense of what it's like to make points. And if I missed an opening and I didn't quite get out, so let that be it. It'll be all right. Don't gauge your career on one trade, okay? I was $14,000 in profit and I got stopped out for nothing. But what if? What if it had been one of those days where the Dow just went down? Wouldn't it have been nice to have had a $100,000 day? That's what I tell myself. And you know, I made money this morning. We had the FTSE trade, we had the DAX trade, although that DAX trade I got stopped out for zero as well, but then we had the FTSE trade, so it's not like I won't be able to pay the bills from today's trading. And I'm happy that the DAX is rallying because we are long. As a group, we are long. So let me just give you an update. My short trade from 60, that was nearly 100 points in profit, has now been stopped out for nothing. And my Nasdaq, I had put the stop loss to about 10-15 points and that has also been stopped out. So I got nothing to show. But the flip side is I'm very happy that the market is back up again. Now I'm gonna go full camera again because I want to round this off. I'm not going to get into the habit of streaming for hours on end. I like to keep it short and sweet and intense. Of course, if there's interesting days, and there will be interesting days ahead where the market is really flying in one direction or dropping in another direction, I will be there and I'll hold your hand, I'll support you so that you can capitalize on a big drop. But I'm happy until such day presents itself to simply just have a short 1 hour session. I think that's about the time that we have streamed now. I don't actually know how long we've streamed. But there you go. About an hour. And in that hour, we sold short the Nasdaq. That was a good profit. We also sold short the Dow, and that was a very good trade because we decided to get out at the fill the gap. There was only one idiot that didn't get out, but let's not talk about him, you know. All right. Let me answer a few questions. Tom, can you please explain how many percent of the profit you should take out, and should it be weekly, monthly? Well, here's a good idea if I were you. If you can, say that you had a £1,000 account or $1,000. Tell yourself, I want to take out $25 every single week. If I can take out more, I will, because I made a profit. But I want to take out $25 every single week, whether it's been profitable or not. Just want to get into the habit of taking profits out. It feels good. It's like this ritual that I have of saying, well, on this particular day, I will take out X percent. It usually is 2.5% a week. And that obviously sort of indicative of what I'm trying to make in a year. But it's just this. It pays the bills and it makes trading a business. Coming up in the next year or so, we are going to dive a lot deeper into price action. We're going to dive a lot deeper into scenario trading, and we need to get a lot more involved and evolved in the art of buying into retracements. And I'm preparing course notes for that. I'm doing this because I think it's fun, and also because Are any of you guys familiar with Latin? You see, I am classical trained, and I'm probably going to make a tit of myself now because it's been a while since I spoke Latin. But it goes along the line of qui scribit bis legit, which essentially, I think, means that he who writes reads twice. And I have a conversion of that saying is that the one who teaches learns twice. So I'm not only acquiring the knowledge, I am also passing on that knowledge, which in turn you will ask questions which will confront my knowledge, and I will have to answer it, which means I need to, question the knowledge I have. And I love that. I just fucking love that information. We share it and we all benefit from it. Couldn't be happier. How do you deal with getting stopped out, especially when you have multiple stops? What did I just say? Don't judge your trading career on one trade. It's just a series of trades. That's why I like to practice a little bit of meditation about 3 times a day. Nothing major, nothing like, transcendental meditation where I sit for 20 minutes at a time. Just a little bit of time in the morning before trading, a little bit of time around lunchtime just to decompress and get into the right flow again. And then when the day is over, another 5 minutes, just okay, what did I think about this day? Is there anything I could learn? How do you keep track of multiple markets? I got multiple screens. Thank you, Han. Alia Jacta Est. I don't know. That sounds like... Isn't that the dice are rolled? Pretty sure it is. Isn't that what Caesar said? Like when he stood at the gates of Rome, the dice have been cast. Nikolai asks a very good question. When you are in profit, how do you keep your fingers off your profit and let it run? With great difficulty, Nikolai. With great difficulty. You just gotta invent something you keep telling yourself. What that thing is, I don't know. This is the hardest bit about trading. Is to let the profits run. And the reason why it's difficult to let the profits run is because we become fearful that our money will disappear. Whilst when we are in a losing position, itchy nose, when we are in a losing position, we want to let it run because, hey, hope springs eternal. That's why every single time you put me on a stage, you stick a camera on my face and saying, in order to be a good trader, we need to turn that dynamics upside down. If you see the video that that was recorded when I did that CMC Markets Opto event, I'm basically saying that to be a good trader, you gotta be a little not normal in the head, because you need to turn your emotions on its head. You need to become hopeful when you are in profit, rather than fearful that the profits will disappear. So for example, today I had a position in the DAX. It was 25 points in profit and was 100 pounds a point. So my mind then begins to extrapolate. And this is what it does, Nikolai. It says, 2,500. If you do that every single day, you are making 625,000 pounds a year. Can you afford not to take that profit? That's what the mind does. It sidesteps the present moment, the right here, right now, and it takes you into a future moment. And that future moment will either bring you pain or it'll bring you joy. And if it brings you joy, you say, well, I better secure that joy right now. Or it will bring you pain and you say, well, I don't want to be there in the future. And so the spiritual practice of being in the moment right here, right now, is not so airy-fairy as you may think. Well, but do you think that Roger Federer in that final set against Rafa Nadal in 2006 is wondering, did I leave the stove on? No, of course not, because they're so engrossed in the moment. And what we need to practice spiritual or not, is the art and the rigorous art of staying grounded in the moment. Even elite soldiers have to have that trained out of them, that auto response mechanism whereby they're taken to a future moment where they see something horrible happen. But if you stay grounded in the moment, and I know it's a lot, it's not easy, not at all. I'm not saying it's easy, but then again, I've never said that trading was easy, not by a long stretch. But nothing is really easy until we begin to practice it. And if we practice it with rigor, well, then we'll get somewhere. Did you know that the Swedish researcher Ericsson, who coined the phrase the 10,000 hour argument, saying that if you want to acquire expertise experience, you need to attain 10,000 hours worth of practice. But the thing about practice, Nikolai, I don't know why I'm addressing you, Nikolai, it could be anyone in here, but the thing about practice is that practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent, and there's a difference. Because if you practice the wrong thing, then that behavior gets established into your pattern of behavior. And you need to be very careful what behavior you are establishing as your go-to pattern, as your go-to behavior. So Ericsson then said, after people questioned it, and said, no, it's not 10,000 hours. It's not like you can set the alarm clock and go, that's the first hour, that's the second hour. There's hour 9,995, only 5 hours away from being an expert. He said, no. From his research, the differentiating argument between being an expert and not being an expert is not the hours of practice, but how devoted and dedicated you are. He calls it dedicated practice. He doesn't call it just practice. I mean, how many people do you see out on a golf course on a Sunday morning going, boom, or playing tennis or squash? But that's not necessarily dedicated practice. That's just out there and having some fun. But dedicated practice is where you have a feedback mechanism whereby you are saying, right, I took this swing, or I took this swing, or I, whatever sport, but you're reviewing it. You're dedicatedly reviewing it. That's dedicated practice. And we as traders, as aspiring traders, as moderately okay traders, as expert traders, as absolute super traders, well, we don't attain those levels of proficiency without doing something that the vast majority of people perhaps don't want to do. Yeah, does that make sense, Nikolai? Did I just give you an answer that perhaps 500 sentences longer than you had expected? Sorry, mate. Anyway. You know, guys, I live this shit. You have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. And I come on here and I talk and I smile and hey, make some points. But what goes behind the scenes, I hope one day that you will find out. And I'm not making any secret of what I do, but my preparation is so much more than just drawing a few lines on a chart. It's also looking after myself. It's about making sure I exercise every single day, and that I don't just exercise, but I actually exercise in a group of people, so that I'm being forced, I'm being pushed. The only way to get better is to train with someone that's better than you, and that is so true. And I try to make sure that I go to bed at a reasonable time, because otherwise I won't be able to function. I won't be able to handle all the questions that comes in, dealing with your questions, doing the streaming, looking at the charts, dealing with the impatience, the impulse impatience that constantly drops, that pops up in my head. Oh my God, we've sat here for 15 minutes and we haven't done anything. Let's just do something. So there's a lot more than meets the eye of this persona that is just teaching you here. And I'm not trying to make myself in any shape or form mysterious. But hopefully what I am trying to get across to you is that there is an element of fairness in trading, and there's an element of fairness in speculation. And that is that those that just show up and think, I think the market's going to go this way, they rarely last. But the grinders, the ones that really, really do their work, but they don't just do their work, but they also review themselves, they're the ones that you want to follow. They're the ones you want to bet on. Okay? On that cheery note, I wish I had a good joke, but I don't. So, do you have another book in the Ross? Seriously, Ross? You do know that the first book is still not released, and I hope to God that one day I'll just have a week to myself and I'll finally get that. It might even be to that point where I just say, fuck it, I can't do this anymore. I'm just going to release the book as it is. Because I just think that if you've ever written a book, and I'm sure some of you have, it's not the writing the book that's the hard part. It's when the editor comes back with pages after pages of suggestions and corrections. You think, oh my God, I just wanted a nice, easy book. Want to get some measures across. But no, that's not how it works. But I will do it. Okay. One last look at the FTSE. Yes, of course. Let's take a look at the charts again. So here we are. Right now, it feels more like a trading range in the DAX. And that's probably driven by this outside bar in the Dow. But what you should be mindful of is that on a 5-minute chart, if we get a bar that not only goes above the prior bar's high, but it also closes above it, then the odds are significant that we will going to see 34,400 again. And the DAX, sorry, it was the DAX you wanted the FTSE, but these are just little profit-taking bars. They're not necessarily indicative that we are headed down again. If you get a red bar that closes below a prior bar's low, well, then the odds are increasing that we are going to have a deeper retracement. In a sense, I hate technical analysis. I hate this. What do you think is going to happen now? So, well, like, I don't know. I have to deal with it on a bar-by-bar basis. And that's what we do in this group. We're price action traders. So sometimes we'll anticipate. So we'll anticipate a double bottom, or we'll anticipate a double top, or we are reaction traders in that, okay, we've got a lower high with a bar that closes at its lows, so we need to sell, or vice versa. We need to be biased. That's what we do. What I should really do is I should create those 10 things that we'll do most often. Yeah, and then you have this little fact sheet saying, this is what we're looking for. And if it's not there, then let's not do it. Right, I've been streaming for an hour. I saw a guy yesterday called Meet Kevin. Oh my word, he has got like 1 million views or more. And he's really quite entertaining. So I quite enjoyed just listening to what he said. It had nothing to do with me. It was just, he was mostly talking about how much money he was making streaming on YouTube, which I thought, can you make money in streaming YouTube? Yeah, in Danish we say "Farver nye verden." In English it's an odd new world, I suppose. I am so done. Guys, look after yourself.